everyone, and welcome to another episode of Taco Matta Tuesday, the show where we eat healthy, delicious tacos and have conversations about life. Life is not about waiting for the storm to pass, but instead learning to dance in the rain. I share this quote as one of my favorite quotes about living life to the fullest because truly you never know when is going to be your last moment. And I definitely don't mean to start this out on a sad note, but had a pretty terrifying experience this morning and just overall feeling very grateful to be here and to be able to speak to you when my life felt like it was on the line, truly. Not to be dramatic, but it was quite terrifying to take an unexpected trip to the ER this morning. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that and what that all entailed. But before I do that, let's go ahead and talk about the tacos of the week. So considering what has happened in the last 6 to 8 hours of my life and just not feeling the greatest this weekend, I will be honest, I did not get a chance to whip together a new taco recipe. However, randomly enough, out of all the things that I could be craving right now, I am craving a Cajun seafood boil place that my boyfriend takes me to, and decided, yeah, we're going to pull out Cajun Persuasion tacos from the archives because that sounds freaking delicious. So if you are interested in seeing what that taco is all about, be sure to check out the show notes before you leave the episode today. All right, now, as many of you are probably wondering what in the world happened, I'm going to back it up really quick, and I'm going to talk about what happened in the days leading up to this morning. So Friday, feeling totally fine. Saturday morning, feeling totally fine. Was getting done with my women's parkour workshop on Saturday night, went to an escape room with my boyfriend and his friends, and was a fun night. But I did start to notice that in the escape room, I was a little chillier than normal and was thinking, oh, well, I haven't ate anything recently, so I'm sure my blood sugar is down and I'm just, feeling a little fatigued and cold from that. Was able to get some food in me, started to feel like my throat hurt again, right before I went to bed. I was like, oh man, I really hope I'm not coming down with something. And then had a terrible night of sleep on Saturday night going into Sunday. Woke up feeling like butt cheeks, was able to get some over-the-counter medicine in me, some nice tea, take a nap, Tylenol. Thank God for Tylenol. I feel like it saved my life. And I was feeling pretty okay Sunday afternoon. I definitely knew that I was coming down with some sort of cold that I was going to have to nip in the butt, but didn't feel out of the ordinary in regards to just, normal sickness feeling. And so go into this morning, Monday morning, I wake up at 4 a.m. and I go upstairs to go to the bathroom and that feeling when you sleep super hard and you're like, whoa, I'm really struggling to wake up right now. That's what it felt like. Just in that daze of man, I feel like I can't even open my eyes fully. And turning on the lights in the bathroom was so painful. I was like, ugh, oh my God, no, thank you. This feels absolutely gross. And so I just remember kind of sitting there and having slowed cognitive functioning around what it is that I needed to do. And so I remember standing up and was like, oh, I don't necessarily feel great. Started to feel a little dizzy, and I decided to sit on the floor for a second. And I noticed that my heart rate started to go up a little bit, and I started to breathe a little bit on the heavier side. And when I tried to stand back up again, I started to black out. And so I immediately sat back down, and I felt this heat sort of radiating off my face and just this overall dizziness and weakness in my body. And so I texted my dad and I was like, hey, I need your help. And so he comes into the bathroom and he's like, okay, how can I help you? And he's holding my hand and he's propping me up. And I was having such a hard time even communicating anything with him because I'd never experienced anything like this before where you literally feel like you can't get out a word and your mouth is so dry. I had cotton mouth. I could barely even speak. My lips felt heavy and just I could feel, again, myself breathing heavier and heavier. And that's when I knew something wasn't right. And so he got on the phone with 911 and I tried to explain my symptoms as much as possible. And they were like, hey, we think that she might need medical attention. We're going to send a paramedic team out there. So he helps me get down to the couch downstairs so that the medical team can like walk in and do their thing. And right before the medical team starts to show up, I start to feel the left side of my body go tingly and numb. And if you know anything about stroke symptoms, that is one of the primary things that starts to happen when you are potentially onsetting a stroke. And so I let them know of that. The paramedics come in. I said, hey, this is happening right now. I'm a little nervous about this. And so they start doing all of the different tests for strokes. And so I'm squeezing, between my right and my left hand, doing different things with my legs. And it seems like my strength for the most part is still there, but I could definitely feel, again, just a little bit of weakness in that left side, definitely more so than in the right side. But overall, my body in general was just so weak. And it was just like, I don't even know, like, it was just hard to even get control of what was happening in my body because I felt so far removed from it. And so they were like, hey, we want to make sure that she's okay. Let's go run some tests in the truck. And so I get wheeled out of my house into the truck and they start doing, different like scans, checking my different levels, making sure that they're not off. And then they prick my finger to grab some blood and they realize that my blood pressure is extremely high. And so they were like, hey, we're going to take you to the hospital. It's not common for people at your age to have a stroke, but right now you're showing some symptoms of it. And so we want to be safe than sorry. And so in that moment, I just like was breathing and mentally trying to wrap my head around the fact that like I could be going into a really dark place right now, that like I might not actually be okay. And the only thing that I had in that moment, when I didn't have my dad there, when I didn't have my mom, when I didn't have anyone next to me besides obviously these paramedics that I didn't know, who were very sweet and kind, by the way. Absolutely enjoyed them a lot. We had some good laughs in the car. I was like super loopy. I will say, like, I was still finding like weird ways to like laugh and smile. I don't know how. It must really truly just be in my heart or my personality, like through these dark times, just to still find a way to just like crack a joke here and there. But I had to like come back to the breath. That was the only thing that I had, was me, myself, and I, and my breath, of just realizing everything's going to be okay. No matter what happens, you're going to be able to handle what comes after it. And so I get to the hospital, they wheel me out, they start to do all these tests, and it was just so much. I was connected to so many things, so many needles, the CAT scan and the fluids that they inject in me, I started to get hives from, so I found out I was allergic to something. Like, it was just, I started to feel nauseous and abdomen pain. It was terrible. Like, that was not a fun stretch of life at all during that hour. But all of that to say, they eventually get me back to like the patient care room, or not the patient care room, basically my own room that I had at that point. My dad is there and I'm like in and out of sleep at that point. They start to jack me up with some Benadryl to help with the hives, as well as fluids. And once I had those fluids in me, I was like, I feel like $1,000,000 right now. Like, in comparison to what I did, like, this feels great. Like, no, I don't feel 100%, but I actually feel like awake and coherent. And so what we eventually chalked it up to, after we got all of the scans and the labs back clean, everything looked good, there was no sign of clottages, things of that nature, is we chalked it up to the fact that I might have had some sort of dehydration. I'm an athlete, I work really hard, and in addition to getting the crappy sleep, the sickness, and realizing I really didn't consume that much the day before, like, I think after reflecting, I maybe consumed like 32 ounces of water the day before and just didn't know it, maybe 40 at the most, when I'm normally consuming around 90 to 100 ounces a day. Yeah, there was a chance that I was just like super nutrient deficient, and my body was just catching up to me at that point. So needless to say, I am okay. I am back at home and I am on the up and up. Again, some things just feel a little slower than normal. Sometimes, again, it's a little hard to process thoughts and to talk, and some hand movements just feel a little off. So I'm hydrating up like a crazy person. I literally got home from the hospital and my dad started laughing because I was like shoving oatmeal in my mouth. It was just such a funny thing. But I'm okay. I am okay. And the tingling on the left side of my body is still there, unfortunately. And so what we think that might be is just the dehydration, the muscle, or not the muscle, just there's might be something that's impinged from, dehydration from things being a little drier than normal. And so it's causing some things just to be cut off circulation wise. So currently figuring that out at the moment. But overall, I am alive. I am okay. And I'm insanely grateful, like I said, to be here and to be talking to you guys. And so I just wanted to not only share that to let everyone know that I'm all right, but I also wanted to share some takeaways after being hospitalized unexpectedly, just as reminders, lessons that came from the whole experience that I hope that someone today can walk away from being like, I needed to hear that today. And therefore I'm going to look at, my life, my situation, whatever it is that I'm walking through right now with a completely new perspective, because I can tell you I am, and I'm walking away with a lot. So the first thing that I want to say as a takeaway is that rest is your absolute birthright. And I know that I did an episode on this, I want to say about a year ago, but just how important rest and recovery is. And it's not just, sleep and taking days off of the gym. Like, trust me, I understand that. I do that. I'm very well at least getting like 7 hours of sleep at night. Probably need more for the high level of athletics and volume that I do. But what I mean by rest is just like time to just be with yourself without having any expectation or need to be anywhere or serving anyone else. And I just realized I have not given myself that. Like, I was just talking to my client yesterday morning about how I don't have a single day off. I still have this feeling after leaving the corporate world and making so much money and then making now considerably less money that, I need to work really hard to get back to where I was and to get to this place where I could have financial freedom, and like, I'm a failure if not. Like, even though I know in my heart that that's so not true, there's still those stories that come and attack me from time to time that make me feel that way. And so I never want to be seen as a slacker, as someone that doesn't work hard, like a freeloader. That's just not my thing. But, I've built this schedule of amazing clients and jobs that I love, but I'm just realizing that not having a day off and then running myself ragged in workouts and just in work and really only having a couple hours a day in the middle of the day to just like recover before I have to go get back on the horse and do the next thing between early nights and, between early mornings and late nights, all let's say I think I'm worn, and I think it's catching up to me. And so it's just a reminder to not ignore those things and to not ignore how important that type of rest and recovery is for you, that you don't need to be on the go 100% of the time, that if you are, it is only going to catch up with you and it's going to stop you in your tracks, just like it did for me this morning. So just reminding you that rest is your birthright. You don't have to earn it. It is your literal birthright that you deserve as a human being. And so please take the time, if you need to do that. And I'm going to stop and apologize really quick. That is my dog that's barking like crazy. Must be a squirrel or other dogs of some sort. So if you hear her in the background, we're just going to let that be because, we're on a roll now. So there's that. Next takeaway is that every situation teaches you a lesson. I will tell you, I'm walking away with not only just these takeaways, but so many lessons. Like, for example, the fact that I need to get back to giving myself rest, that it is okay that I'm not on the go 100% of the time, that my measure of success in this period of life looks much different, and I need to stop planning out my days and spending my time as according to the old measure of success and being totally okay and comfortable with that, right? And so if you are walking through a difficult season, a rough moment in life, and you're just wondering when is it ever going to give up, or when is it ever going to, take less of a beating on you, I think that will not happen until you recognize what the lesson is that you need to learn. What I've come to know about life and the universe and the way that it works is that if you don't address it, it will make sure that you will address it. It will teach it to you over and over again in multiple situations until you choose to learn the lesson. And so what is it that you need to take away from these experiences in your life that are going to help you become better, become the person that you want to be, help you level up in your life? And what I will also say about this too is whether or not you choose to seek the lesson is going to be the determiner of whether or not you see the situation as a burden or a gift. I can see this morning as a complete burden with the fact that, like, I've got such incredible, fun, amazing things coming up this weekend, between competing in the Cirrus Bricks semifinals to Colorado Ninja League finals. Like, so many amazing things, right? Where I can be like, this is a burden, and I had to take the whole day off of work, and like, this is so crappy. Or I could see it as a gift of like, wow, maybe not the way that I needed to be reminded to slow down, but I'm so thankful that I'm sitting here reflecting on these things, so therefore I can go and take the actions necessary to make sure that I'm taking care of myself and reflecting on what it is that I actually need right now. So again, that I can continue to get better and be a better person. So just as a reminder that every situation is truly a learning lesson if you choose to see it that way, and it can completely change what it is that you're going through if you choose to see it that way. The next takeaway from this morning is that the only step that truly matters is the one that you are currently taking. Like, my mind was absolutely spinning this morning thinking about the fact that, wow, this ambulance ride is going to cost me thousands. All of these tests that they're running are going to cost me thousands. Like, just that, sorry. Like, just that feeling of heaviness, like, in my heart and in my head. I was like, oh, shit. And it's now just, like, hitting me again, so I apologize, but, I couldn't think of that in that moment, because the only thing that mattered was just being there for myself and being there in that moment to just breathe and tell myself that I was going to be okay, that I was going to be strong, and that all that mattered was what I was going through right there at that moment to get myself better and back to 100%. So again, now all of that to say is, trust yourself to do what you need to do in this exact moment and let go of the outcome. Take whatever outcome that you are nervous about, whether it's a goal that you're trying to hit or whether it's just an outcome that you think is going to happen. Like, for example, my crazy financial burden that this is going to cause me. Just let go of it and trust that no matter what, that you're going to find the strength and the courage and what it is that you need to do in order to get through it. Just let go of full control and trust that you'll be able to handle whatever is coming next for you. Just something that I need to tell myself this morning, that I just needed to focus on this specific step, and whatever steps come after that, I will get there. But the only one that really matters is the present moment that I'm in. And everything's going to be okay no matter what. I've made it this far, and I've made it through 100% of my deepest, darkest days. There is no way that I'm not going to be able to make it through this and navigate this little storm exactly the way that I'm supposed to. Okay, thank you. Phew, sorry. Didn't expect to have some tears there, but raw and real, right? That's what we do here on this show. Okay, the next one is don't wait until something happens to be grateful. And I say that from two different point of perspectives. The first one is, it's not just about like an event like mine to make you realize how special life is, but also like waiting to get to a certain level of achievement or success, or waiting for something to fall into place in order for you to go after the big goal, to take the big leap of faith, right? I think that those two things are very applicable for this. Is don't wait for something terrifying to happen before you finally realize just how special every single living moment is, to realize how much life is always showing up for you, to realize how beautiful an experience it is that you have, that maybe you've taken it for granted over the last couple of days, weeks, months, whatever that looks like for you, right? But again, on the flip side of that, just also realizing that don't wait until. That is the biggest thing that I'm trying to get at here, is don't wait until, because you really don't know when is going to be your last shot, when is going to be your last chance to do the thing. And so listen to your gut, trust yourself, trust your heart that it knows what it wants and it knows what it needs, and go after it, right? Again, going back to that self-trust note, is like, knowing that you can let go of whatever is about to come in front of you, and you can just act from that place of passion and courage and strength, and that whatever the outcome might be, you're going to be strong enough and capable enough to actually handle it. So just putting those two together, don't wait until in order to feel grateful. Don't wait until blank in order to go after the thing. Be grateful now. Take a moment to reflect on all the things that are showing up for you, and also take a moment to think about what are the things that I have been holding back on, that I have been getting in my own way of, that if I was to be in a situation tomorrow where I literally couldn't, I would feel the deepest amount of regret for. And I will tell you, laying in that hospital bed this morning, I would say, you know what? I've had a pretty kickin' 29 years of life. Man, I almost made it to 30. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. But literally, I was like, you know what? If I was to, for some reason, not walk out of here okay today, or not walk out of here at all, I would feel really good about the legacy that I have left, about the things that I have done, the fact that I have truly, gone against the grain. I've leaned into fear. I'm really proud of that. It was really cool to be able to think about those things, but also made me remember that there have been some days over the last, couple of days or weeks where I wasn't that grateful, and I wasn't in the right mindset. And, not every day is going to be 100%. We're human, and that's totally fine to not have a totally okay day here and there, but it just makes me really want to, again, revisit that idea of gratitude, and just really living the fullest through everything that I get to do, whether it's something that I really don't care to do, it's not my favorite thing to do, or whether it's the thing that I want to be spending my entire life doing. The last thing that I want to share with you guys, just as far as a takeaway after my fun experience this morning, is to find a reason to smile. I shared this, but in the ambulance, I don't know how I was able to do it, but they were asking me can you still smile and stuff, because that's another one of the tests that they do for strokes. And I was able to do that just fine, but I was able to just find little places to laugh and things to talk about just to keep my spirits high. And so even when you were going through the darkest of darkest moments, I encourage you, not just out of optimism, but just out of the fact that you deserve this, is just to find a reason to smile. My smile and my calming breath kept me in a good headspace throughout this entire scary situation. Just being able to know that I was there for myself, that I trusted myself, and then just to find those moments of, I can smile and I'm breathing, I'm alive, and things are going to be okay. It really made all of the difference. And so again, when you're going through those moments of, I just don't know how I'm going to continue to move on, even just if you don't feel like smiling, find the reason to smile. Just smile and see what happens, because it truly could bring you back to life. It truly, truly could. Thank you guys so much for showing up for you today and listening to a podcast that was a little all over the place. I hope that it made sense and you were able to take something away from it. But special thank you to everyone that's reached out for your sweet messages, your sweet prayers and thoughts. Glad to be okay. And hopefully next week, the podcast, I will get to report to you about how I was able to come back from this and recover well, and be able to compete in both of my competitions, my exciting competitions that I have this weekend. I'm putting it out there in the universe right now that I'm going to bounce back stronger, and I'm going to take care of myself and whatever lessons I learned with me into this weekend. And I'll be excited to share the outcome of that with you guys next week. So have a great Tuesday. Have a great week. Remember to drink lots of water. And I will see you guys for another episode of Talk About It Tuesday. See you then.